In the humid shadows of the South, music is never merely a matter of meter or rhyme. It is a blood pulse, a haunting choir rising from the red clay and the stagnant swamp water. These melodies are our true inheritance, carrying the weight of a century's grief and glory in the time it takes for a tallow candle to flicker and die. Within the span of a few desperate minutes, a song unearths the same ghosts that Toni Morrison, Fannie Flagg, and Tennessee Williams spent hundreds of ink-stained pages trying to exorcise. The secrets they buried in chapters of typeset prose, the family rot, the hidden sins, and the fierce, jagged beauty of our land are all laid bare in the vibration of a single steel string.
There's a house in the suburbs where the blinds are always drawn tight against the prying eyes of the neighborhood. It was the year 2007 when the reckoning finally found its voice within those walls. Listen closely to the way the story is told. One voice begins and another answers. It is the way of things. The river does not forget the twists of its bed, and the child does not forget where she was broken. They say that a wound left untended will grow in the dark, and so it was with the song they called Because of You. A girl of only 16 summers, a child from the plains of Texas named Kelly Clarkson, wrote the words to cope with the emotional fallout of her parents' divorce. It was a raw, adolescent cry of pain directed at a parent who had abandoned their post. She took her grief to the architects, David Hodges and Ben Moody, to polish the track for her 2004 album, Breakaway. That was the authorial intent, darling, a solitary scream in a quiet room. But a story changes when it is shared. In 2007, the great Reba McEntire, a woman from Oklahoma with the weight of the years in her eyes, stepped into the circle. By joining voices, the performative interpretation shifted entirely. It ceased to be a simple country pop power ballad and transformed into a multi-generational dialogue about inherited pain. Do you hear the weeping swell of the pedal steel guitar? Do you hear the acoustic guitar strums fighting to be heard over a heavy, cinematic string section? This is the lineage of the Nashville sound, a melody designed to cross over to white, middle-class pop audiences, yet drinking deeply from the emotional delivery of the blues. It creates a sonic environment that is both intimately domestic and operatically tragic. The two women stand in the dim parlor, casting long shadows. Their voices carry that natural southern drawl, stretching out the vowel sounds in words like cry, try, and life. This assonance drags out the meter, making the lyrics feel deliberate, heavy with a grief that cannot be rushed. It is a first-person confessional, an echo chamber where both women are singing the same agony. The narrator is reliable, yes, but paralyzed by her own trauma, hyper-aware of how her every behavior has been modified by another's failure. They do not speak of moonlight and magnolias here. No, they reject that grand romantic myth of the perfect, polite family. This is the grotesque reality of the Southern Gothic, where psychological rot and family secrets fester behind closed doors. They sing of visceral, emotional snapshots rather than physical landscapes. The narrator acts as a silent, terrified observer of adult destruction. I learned to play on the safe side, she whispers in that refined, low country cadence, so I don't get hurt. But beholden to the truth, we see that the safe side is nothing more than a paraphrase for a psychological cage, a prison built for protection that ultimately stunts emotional growth. They speak of fallen, a metaphor for the terrifying loss of control that the narrator desperately tries to avoid. This is the thematic core, intergenerational trauma and the burden of history. It is a stark exploration of how the sins and pains of the parents are visited upon the children. The song represents the working to middle-class suburban South, stepping away from agrarian tropes to deal with the modern reality of broken family units. It channels the intense matriarchal weight of our culture, where the pressure to keep up appearances and the deep-seated guilt of familial failure mirror the raw intensity of a Southern Protestant confessional or a revival. Yet they subvert the trope of the stoic, unbreakable Southern woman. They do not stand tall and pretend all is well. Both singers allow themselves to sound wounded and terrified, admitting that they have been permanently altered by someone else's choices. For outsiders, this masterpiece reinforces the idea that country music is a medium uniquely capable of handling raw adult storytelling and complex psychological landscapes. But for those who live it, the song serves as a cathartic anthem for breaking the cycle. For we are bound by our shared traditions, my dear, but we are also bound by our shared traumas. And when the daughter and the mother figure cry out together, they are no longer just victims of the past. They are the ones bravely dragging it into the light to heal.
Honey, don't you wear yourself thin over it. If you've a mind to hear that melody again, you'll find a path to it tucked right there in the description, just waiting for you to sit a spell and listen. Now, be a precious soul and tap that subscribe button for me. Give that little bell a ring so you don't miss a word, and leave a thumbs up if the spirit moves you. We're glad you stopped by, and we'll be keeping the porch light on for you. Y'all come back now, you hear?